Hi everybody, welcome back to the channel. In this video, we're gonna see how we can pull an integration procedure from an LWC to get the most updated data from a data source. Yeah, the objective of this video is to write some code in LWC to pull an integration procedure at a certain interval so that we can get the most updated data and display that on our LWC. This can be used to get the most updated data from a data source. We know that this data is changing constantly and we want that data on a UI, the most updated data on a UI. We can use this code to do that. Right, for example, you could pull an integration procedure to get the most updated values of a certain object due to some action that we perform. Right, we'll go see an example with an LWC and an OmniScript and an integration procedure how we can implement this. Okay, let's jump into the code. Yeah, I have a small LWC here, nothing very complicated, just a small LWC, and here we have basically displaying a lightning data table inside this LWC, and the data from it is going to be coming from an integration procedure. Right, the columns are fixed, which are predefined here, and in the connected callback of this LWC we have this set interval called, and we're invoking an IP from there, and that's gonna happen every 5000 milliseconds. Right, so here in this invoke IP method, what we're doing is we're setting, like, we're using this counter which is set to 0 initially. We're using this counter till it's less than 10, so we're gonna poll this integration procedure that we're gonna call 10 times every 5000 milliseconds to get the most updated data. Right, and yeah, this is where we call the integration procedure. This is a very standard way of calling the integration procedure from an LWC. Nothing very complicated here. What we used to do this polling is the set interval function from JavaScript, and we basically, how this function works is we pass in the function that we want to call inside the set interval. This is like a callback function that gets called every interval that we pass here. So once this method is called, we first see if the polling counter is less than 10, then we again hit the integration procedure to another poll, or else once it's 10, like once we reach the counter as 10, call the integration procedure 10 times, clear the interval. So when we write this function here, what happens is this interval stops and we do not call the integration procedure anymore. So this is how we clear the interval. All right, so let's see a working example of this. Here I have OmniScript where I have dropped in the LWC that we just saw. There's no input to the LWC. It's very simple here. So when we do a preview, I go to the inspector, show you the network panel. Okay, you see this is the call, and we'll see every 5 seconds we get another call to the same integration procedure. And just to show how if you change the data, how it would reflect on the UI, I have this account here and the current number of employees is 2000. We'll change that to 1000. Save that, come back here and wait for another call to the integration procedure, and there we go. You saw that turn into 1000. So it's picking up real-time changes into the database. Obviously we can change the interval as we like. If you think the data is gonna not change in like 5 seconds and maybe like a bit longer or a bit quicker, we can change that by just changing this parameter here in the set interval. So that way we could get the most updated data from any data source. In this case, doesn't have to be an integration procedure. We could just use any data source instead of this integration procedure and get the most updated data and keep polling that data source at a certain interval. All right, that's it for this video, guys. Hope this helps, and do let us know if you need any other help, and please drop down a comment and like. Thank you, guys.